and I can't decide what yarn I want to use. So if you have any opinions on which one I should cast on for the shawl, please let me know what you think. Welcome back to Secret Projects. My name is Keiko, and we're joined with Comet. I hope that you also have some knitting chores that you've been putting off, because I've been putting off weaving in the ends of these socks and also the baby blanket, which is a recent FO, but I've been putting them off for far too long. So I thought during this podcast we could get those little chores that we don't want to do done together. So this is episode 2 of Secret Projects, and I just wanted to show and go over the projects that I'm currently working on that have not been a part of vlogs, but also just kind of go over, like the blanket that I finished. That was a vlog, but I know not everyone is into vlogs, so it can all be condensed here in one spot. So, the works in project for this past month, we have the Color Tip Tee by Emily Curtis. I still have just barely cast on and done a few rows. I'm at a point where I'm gonna start the stockinette section, so that's exciting to be in that position. And again, now that the baby blanket's done, I have more time that I can dedicate to knitting. But anyway, the yarn that I'm using for this project is Camellia Fiber Co. Magic Sprinkles on Flax Fingering, which is a 50-25-25 alpaca, linen, and silk. It's 100 grams for 438 yards. And then the contrast color, which I'm only using one contrast color throughout the tee, is Dusty Yarn Co. Bougainvillea on Classic Fingering, which is 100% superwash merino wool. And that's also 100 grams and 437 yards. Currently, I'm using US 3 or 3.25 millimeter needles for this tee. And my gauge was still off, but I didn't want to go up any more needle sizes because I didn't want my fabric to be much more open than it already is. So instead, I've just modified what size I'm making. I'm loving using this flax fingering yarn. It's exciting because I believe it's my first linen blend yarn, and I'm just kind of like enjoying how different it feels, because a lot of my projects are superwash merino or a blend of merino and nylon. So this is very exciting. And I'm looking forward to spending more time working on this tee. My second work in progress is some vanilla socks by the Crazy Sock Lady. I'm doing 2 at a time. Both are knit on US 1 2.25 millimeter circular needles, and it's on a 9-inch cord, which seems to be my preferred cord as of lately. The yarn is Must Stash yarn. The main color is called Yellow Submarine, and the contrast color is called Beetle Mania, and both are on fingering sock, which is 75-25 superwash merino and nylon, and 100 grams is 460 yards. For this sock, I did a 20 round 2x2 cuff, nice and thick, and then my leg was just over 60 rounds. I can't believe, but definitely between 60 and 70 rounds. But I just went until the first fade finished. And also, a modification I did make to this pattern is I'm placing an afterthought heel because I wanted to split the stripe in a nice specific spot. So I decided to place an afterthought heel instead of doing the slip stitch heel. So I believe that's the only modification I have made. I have about like 3/4 of my first sock and about half, maybe a little less than half of my second sock done. But these are just very nice end of night mindless knitting projects. And also I feel like because the yarn is like a fade and striped, it's very popcorny, and like I just want to make it to the end of the stripe, or I'm so close to the end of the fade. So I feel like that definitely makes these socks feel like they're flying by. My last work in progress that I have going right now is Someone to Write Gnome About by Imagined Landscapes. Also, just a quick note, I know I'm behind on the clues, but if you are participating in the mystery knit along, I'm going to be showing clue 1 and parts of clue 2, and kind of discussing that a little bit. So if you want to skip spoilers for that, I'll put a timestamp on the screen of when you can skip to, so that way you don't get spoiled. And this is a mystery knit along, and it also happens to be my first gnome construction. So not only is like the design a mystery, but also how a gnome is constructed is also a mystery to me too. And I have really been enjoying that, both aspects of that. So the yarns that I'm using, it's supposed to be a self-striping yarn, but I didn't have a self-striping yarn in stash, and so I wanted to use this variegated yarn, which kind of gives self-striping vibes. That is by Craftily Dyed Yarns. The colorway is Peacock on their classic sock, which is 75/25 superwash merino wool, nylon. 100 grams is 460 yards. And then for like the more like skin tony yarn, I'm using Sorella yarn, and the colorway is Beach House on her classic sock, which is 100% superwash merino wool. 100 grams is 400 yards. And then the last color that I'm using is Drop Snored, color number 9. And that's a blend of 45% alpaca, 30% polyamide, 25% wool. And that's a 50-gram ball for which gets 186 yards. So I'm using I'm using US 1 2.25 millimeters, and I'm using circular on a 40 inch cord, so that way I can do magic loop. But I have also used my DPNs at 1.2, so it's good to have that sort of flexibility. And yeah, I'm just enjoying this mystery knit along, even though I've fallen behind quite a bit. I believe clue 4 was released today, and I'm still working on clue 2, but that's okay because if you've seen my Sweet Stripes blanket vlog, yeah, I just went really hard on that project until I finished it. And so then I got like 0 knitting done. So now I'm like kind of playing catch up. And the final clue is released on Friday. And I'm pretty sure I will not be caught up by Friday, but it's okay because I'm still enjoying the mystery aspect of this knit along. And having fun is really all that matters. So, yeah, really exciting. I say in like air quotations, my finished object for this podcast is my Sweet Stripes baby blanket, which is by TL Yarn Crafts. And I say in quotations that it's finished because I ran out of yarn and I like literally only have like 8 inches left of the border to finish, and I have already ordered my yarn, but it's not here, so like technically it's not finished, but really like I'm gonna call it a finished object, you know. So this blanket, the yarn that I used is comfy worsted, so that's 50 grams for 109 yards. And the blend is 75% Pima cotton, 25% acrylic. The colors that I used are white, ivory, silver sage, honeydew, and whisker. And the hook sizes that I used, because this project is Tunisian crochet, I used a 6.5 millimeter Tunisian crochet hook, along with a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook for the border. This baby blanket is for my cousin who's due in 3 weeks, and it was just causing me a lot of stress and anxiety, not knowing how long it would take me, also knowing that had like such a hard deadline and everything. So I am happy that I just spent just over a week and really focused in on that and got it done, so now I don't have to worry about it, and knitting is back to being relatively stress-free. In the vlog, it took me 29 hours to crochet this blanket, which honestly shocked me that like each ball was taking between like 2 and 3.5 hours depending on which stitch I was doing, and it was really humbling to see like, oh, you know, like I know projects are not quick, I know fiber arts is not a quick thing, but like if I had to guess, I never would have guessed that a 50-gram worsted weight ball would have taken me that long. So it was a kind of fun experiment that I did, incorporating the timer, and it's also just really good to know. A couple other monthly goals that I'm hoping to accomplish, aside from finishing up my whips, are I would like to finish a second sock for a gift for a friend. The pattern is the Affinity Sock by Carrie Cogan Brown. And yeah, I just finished the first sock earlier this year. So it would be ideal if I could get the second sock finished. And it's also like, it has a little bit of like mosaic color work on the cuff. But other than that, it's just a sock, like a shorty sock even, which I can usually, if I'm like not doing any other projects, knock out a shorty sock within a day or two. So I'm like, realistically, it shouldn't take me long, but for some reason I just keep putting it off. So I'm ready to get off of second sock island and get that done. So that would be really cool if I could get that done in the month of September. Another fun little goal is I'm going to Las Vegas this weekend. I calculated it, and I will be in Vegas for 43 whole hours. I'm going for one of my childhood friends, her wedding, and so I was thinking, what do I want to bring and knit? And I worry if I brought my self-striping socks, I would be able to finish those like really quickly. So I thought it would be fun to do a new cast on for my trip and just to see how much I could get done. I'm not planning on doing too much. I do plan to go see the Cirque du Soleil show at the Bellagio, because I do take aerial classes every week, and so I think it would be really cool to see Cirque du Soleil and like kind of, you know, see all of the acrobatics and stuff. So other than that and the wedding, I don't really have much planned other than to just, you know, kind of like walk around, hang out, and knit. I really just want to like go sightsee and knit, and so maybe I'm being a little too ambitious, but I will be casting on the Tiny Tassels little shawl pattern by Karen Fernandez, and I wish I remember what YouTuber I saw mention this pattern, but I did see it on someone's YouTube video. I believe they were talking about free patterns, and I can't decide what yarn I want to use. I'm stuck between two. So I'm thinking either, they're both by Sorella, by the way. I'm thinking about either doing Enchanted, which is this nice kind of like purpley yarn, or I'm considering doing Baked, which has like these blues and pinks, and I really like that one too, so I can't decide. So if you have any opinions on which one I should cast on for the shawl, please let me know what you think. So yes, the Tiny Tassels is a free pattern. And it's literally like after the first 4 rows, you're just repeating 2 rows, which I feel okay saying that because it's a free pattern. So it's very mindless and also relatively small, I would say. So I'm looking forward to casting that on. Hanging out in Vegas, that'll definitely be a travel-y kind of vlog coming up. Probably not next week, but definitely I would say the week after. And yeah, I'm just really looking forward to that little trip. And just based on how I have my vlog set up, I believe this will be the last podcast for September. So I just quickly wanted to go over what some of my October goals are. So like the first goal, which is kind of like the biggest goal, is that I decided to participate in the Westknits MCAL this year. I've definitely like watched the past 2 years. And yeah, I mean, I just did the surprise sock along, which is so much fun. I'm really nervous because shawls are a lot of yarn, you know, and a lot of fingering weight yarn, and you know, that's a big difference between like knitting a pair of socks in a month. But yeah, I mean, I'm just really looking forward to that. So I'll be participating in the Westknits MKAL Gogo Dynamo. I have my yarn in a box because I decided that I will not open my box of yarn until after I finish my gnome. So I thought that would be like a fun little treat for myself. To just have that to look forward to once I have the finished gnome. If you're familiar with the MCAL, the kit that I did get is from Life in the Long Grass, and it's their rainy weather kit. And I do plan to take part in the Mohair Dare, but I did not buy mohair for that because I have plenty of mohair in my stash. So I will be using stash yarn for that. If you didn't know, I'm on a yarn buying ban, but I have been pretty lenient with myself in that regards, because I was on the ban because I would buy yarn, and then it's like I have yarn that's been in my stash for like 2 or 3 years now, and I just feel so guilty, and it's like I want to work with it, but you know, I can only knit so much in a day or a week. I would not consider myself a fast knitter by any means. So I just wanted to be a little bit more like, I don't need to buy something from like every collection drop, or, you know, I just wanted to be more intentional about my buying. And so far, for about like 98% of the skeins that I have purchased this year, outside of special ones I was had pre-approved before the year started. I've cast them on, and I have finished projects with them or works in progress with them. And so for that fact, I'm really proud of myself that I'm not just buying yarn and that it's not just going straight to sitting in my stash. So even though I'm on the yarn pine ban, I am really excited and motivated, and I know that vlogging my MCAL experience will really help hold me accountable to cast on and finish. And also just like the excitement of the MCAL is totally something that will really, you know, it's just, yeah, I don't know. It's just more special, like, of an experience. I don't know. It's kind of addicting, I guess. But this is also only my third MCAL that I will be participating in. So I'm not sure if that's like kind of a phase that you go through, like just, you know, MCALs get really exciting and if it'll wear off or, you know, whatnot. But yeah, so far, so good I don't know, I just have been having a lot of fun with them. So like I said, I know the shawl, you know, 4-skein fingering weight shawl will be taking up a lot of my knitting time in October, so I'm trying to be very realistic with other projects that I will be knitting, but I do really like to knit something special for Halloween and for Christmas. So my Halloween project for this year, I will be knitting the Starfall, which is like a little shawl, 1 skein, thank goodness. And it's for, oh man, assigned pooling yarn, which I have never dabbled in assigned pooling. So I'm really looking forward to that, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how the pattern is written. And the yarn I will be using is called Neon Halloween by Blue Barn Fiber. I do not have that yarn yet. It should get here on Thursday, I believe, so in a few days. But it's really neat because it's like the black is the assigned pooling part, and then it has like orangey, yellow, neon-y dyes that will like glow in the dark if you're under UV lights, which also the the magic sprinkles, they also they also glow under UV lights. So I just think it's funny how I keep like buying these yarns that like are UV light reactive, but I'm like, I'm never under black lights. So I don't know. I just think that that's kind of funny, but yeah. So that'll be my little Halloween knit for myself for this year. And I'm really looking forward to that. I can't believe that September is already halfway gone. And it's weird because it's September, but it's already snowing in the Sierras, which kind of blows my mind. Especially since I was in Yosemite in May, and it was like roads that are usually closed at higher elevations because of snow. They were open this year when I was there. And then now it's like still technically summer. It's not like fall yet, and it's already snowing up there. So yeah, we're having a little bit of a cold spell right now. I'm sorry if you can hear Nala. She's behind me eating one of her little rawhide chewies, so apologies for that crunching if you can hear it. But yeah, so today was kind of windy and cold, and I'm not near the Sierras by any means, but the weather system that's affecting them is affecting where I live. So I just wanted to kind of cozy up, work on weaving in all of these ends, and also I guess it's important to mention the cardigan that I'm wearing. So the cardigan that I'm wearing is My Favorite Things Knitwear cardigan number 8. The yarn that I used was Nora Madara in the colorway Sake, and I held that with Tin Silk Mohair. I don't have all of that information offhand right now, but I will leave links to them in the comments if you're interested in those yarns. And silly me, I just went to the local sewing fabric store. There it is. Fabric store, and I just picked up buttons, and I didn't even think to write down what kind of buttons they are. I believe they're an albacore, kind of mother of pearl button, but I'm really happy with how this came out. Comment. And it's really cozy, and yeah, so I hope that you have enjoyed hanging out, and I hope that you were able to also knock out some kind of tedious knit chore that you were not looking forward to. I hope that we were able to do it together. If you enjoyed the podcast, I would love a like and subscribe if you'd like to see more podcast or knitting vlog content. Also, if you've made it to this point, thank you. I know not everyone does make it to this point. And I would love if you would let me know what you've been working on throughout this podcast. Also, let me know which yarn I should use for my little Vegas shawl. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. And I will see you in the next episode.